If Biden steps away and for some reason decides he's not going to run for president, are you going to step up and serve your country?
I think about how many other people would have to say no before they get to me.
Yeah.
And like,
quiet, please.
Just the logistics of collating all those no's sounds like something even the Pitney Bowes company couldn't handle. It'd be a lot. They're like, oh, there's another no. Just keep going. They're like, how many people in the country? 345 million.
2.
Company presents a truly terrible podcast. Welcome to Nonsense Season 2, Episode 25. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm Little.
This is our take on the week's business, tech, and entertainment headlines. This time, we'll look at past news that isn't WWDC.
Wait, what? I thought this was just that's all we did now.
In the United States, it's Independence Day. As the old joke goes, in Britain, it's Thanksgiving. But of course, what that really means is today's show will be heard by no one. So if you need to make any embarrassing confessions, CJ, this is the moment.
Yeah, I can't believe anybody's listening to this show right now as opposed to going out and blowing shit up, which is what we all do here in the U.S. I do like thinking of it as Thanksgiving, though, for Britain. They must all just take a moment to be very happy that they got rid of this baggage. Now, when I think of July 4th, I always think of the Will Smith film, right? The Dean Devlin Will Smith film, Independence Day, which, of course, brings to mind one of my favorite jokes of all time. I think you enjoyed this one as well, from one of my favorite comics, the good old Mr. Rick Overton.
Sure.
When he talked about the giant spaceships, and he said, if you want to destroy the city, just land. And I think about that all the time. Like, whenever I see, the LA skyline driving on the 101, I'm like, he's right. They should have just fucking landed. That's all they had to do.
Some quick little housekeeping for August. There will be no episodes on the 1st, 8th, or 22nd.
I meant to talk to you about this.
Yes.
I don't think we should say this here because I think it's way too early. And 2,
we've already said
I think we can record.
It just went out.
I think we can get ahead of this. We'll talk about it later. I think we can probably get an episode or 2 in there. Either old edits, we can do that hashback and bring some stuff back, or record something.
Listeners, stay tuned. You'll see who's right. It's either going to be CJ is correct or I'm correct. There might be episodes on the 1st, 8th, and 22nd.
I just love how you're like, okay, guys, November 12th, there's not going to be a show. And then in March of 2026, I'm going to Hawaii. You're like, well, who fucking cares?
I like to give you advance warning. There may be some shows missing in August.
What are they going to do differently with their life? Nothing. They're going to do the same fucking thing. I like that we think we're important enough that people are planning their month of August around it. They're like, well, I guess I can go on vacation for a couple weeks since there will be no podcast episodes of nonsense.
Exactly. That's exactly why I'm giving them the benefit of knowing in advance.
Great.
They can plan their vacation schedules now.
That's great.
CJ, how is your week going?
My week is excellent because not only is it summer, my kids are in summer camp, which is great. That's kept me sane. But I'm extremely excited because I have purchased another outdoor cooking apparatus.
Oh, boy.
It's not another big green egg for as much as I would like to continue to round out.
For the listeners who don't know.
All of our listeners know.
CJ's backyard looks like a Lowe's.
It does look like a Lowe's.
It looks like a hardware store barbecue section.
There are 7 big green egg sizes, and I only own 4 of them. I'm working on the other 3. My kids like to point that out. Like, Dad, you don't have that one yet. And I'm slowly...
What's wrong with you, Dad?
I'm slowly adding to that. Anyway, I am competing for big green egg space on my deck, which is becoming very sought after because there's no room in my backyard anymore.
Sure.
But I got a big old Guzney dome to make pizzas.
Wonderful.
For my kids. I'm very excited about this.
Have you fired this thing up? Have you given it a try?
Today is the first day I'm going to do it. For Independence Day, I'm going to make a fucking mess and fire it up with wood and see what happens and piss off all my neighbors. It'll be great.
Homemade pizza. There is nothing better.
Wood-fired, big stone. Oh, I'm very excited. Usually I get pretty grumpy during this process because my kids like to put everything on the dough and it sticks and I can't get it to launch correctly and yada, yada, yada. And then it's just a lot of swearing and anger.
Sure.
And I order Domino's. No, I'm excited that this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
You think Boston Robotics has figured shit out. Wait till they see the pizza peel shooting robot I'm going to make. Anyway, I'm excited about this. So that is my plan for later today after we're done recording. Anyway, how about you? How's your week been?
My week has been fun. The fun thing that I've been doing, I'm shopping for a new laptop.
Oh, yeah.
Because my laptops are like 8 years old. Nothing wrong with that. They all still work great.
8 years old?
Yeah, like 8 years old. They're vintage at this point.
They are vintage.
Things have changed so much, and I'm shocked because what can change? We think they're like mature now. Nothing's going to change.
Well,
things have changed so much.
Yes. The first thing you're going to notice on your new laptop, no floppy drive.
I don't have a floppy drive in mine now.
Yeah,
I don't have a CD-ROM drive either.
Mm-hmm.
8 years ago, those things were already gone.
Yeah.
But
okay.
They didn't have OLED screens.
Yeah, sure.
Which, man, have you seen the new OLED screens? They're just, I'm not even going to talk about the new chips. We're going to talk about those later.
Sure.
But the weight of these things, part of the reason I always had 2 was because I always wanted a big screen because I like a bigger screen.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Sure.
I don't like to travel with the bigger screen because I like a lighter laptop.
Yeah.
And now you can get a large screened laptop, 15.6 inches, whatever it is, at the same weight that my 14-inch laptop was. I mean, this sounds dumb, but it's great. If you travel a lot, it's really amazing that we've shaved off like a whole pound of this thing. It's great. Anyway, I may not have to buy two anymore. I may just be able to get away with one.
Just go buy a fucking MacBook and be happy. The hardware is great.
How's the OLED screen on the MacBook?
No, it's garbage. It's very futuristic.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
In that it's literally coming in the future.
Once you've seen an OLED screen, dude, you will not go back. It looks so
Enjoy your
good.
Xiaomi spyware hardware laptop.
Let's get to our headlines.
Let's do it.
The black suit hacker behind the CDK global attack hitting U.S. car dealers. Oh boy, nobody's going to understand that headline. CDK makes software that is commonly used by car dealerships to process sales and other trends. Do you think we're kind of loose because it's July 4th and we know no one's listening?
I think it's super loose. It's really just me, you, and Barkley. So this will be great.
It's not even like we're trying to read the stories correctly. The CDK is this company that makes software for car dealerships to process sales and other transactions, right?
Yes.
They got hacked. They got hacked big time.
Yes.
And this affects like almost everybody who sells cars.
They were shut down.
Literally bringing car sales to a screeching halt.
Yeah. They're doing it like with paper now.
They said they probably lost like $1 billion worth of sales.
It's not just car sales. It's like it's the body shop. It's the parts department. It's like everything.
Yeah.
They've got these nice inclusive systems, and these guys were shut down with a ransomware attack.
They wanted $10 million to free up the network, $10 million, which across all of the car dealerships and parts dealers and all the rest of it, across all of those people, it's 4th of July. I don't really have to be good, do I?
Man.
Across all of those people, $10 million is probably not that much money. So they probably thought, they're just going to write a check right away.
And they may have. We don't know.
I think they did, because today is the day everything's supposed to start working again.
Yeah, they said this morning was everything back on.
Yeah.
So this first went down a while ago, right? It was like the 19th of June. Like it's been down for a couple weeks.
$1 billion worth of car sales. $1 billion lost.
Yeah. Okay. So I saw that headline. They're like, may cost dealers $1 billion. Like, where did
no sense.
Where did that money go? Did they go buy horses? What did they do? They're just going to come back and buy it. It's just deferred.
All those people just decided they're going to take the bus.
Everyone's just like, you know what? This metro ain't so bad. I'm going to take the train. Somebody pees on my leg every now and again. It's fine.
Forget this car thing.
It's warm.
It's warm.
Yeah, I just, whatever. It's fine. So many nice people. I'm just going to say it again. I know I feel like I'm just beating a drum.
Yes.
There is no real accountability for this shit.
Oh, yes. For CDK. For CDK, there is
not for the dealers.
There is no accountability.
I'd like the dealers to make better, I'd like the customers to make better decisions. But right now, that's not where the problem lies.
Of course.
The problem lies with these companies that have not, in my uneducated opinion,
stealed their infrastructure. They have not done the hard work.
They've cut corners. They haven't spent the money. And it's like, no, you've got to do this. And having been in these roles.
Who wants to do two-factor authentication for the 17 people who work?
It's hard. Exactly. You got to have your phone with you. It's like 6 numbers in order. You got to type them in. It's hard to remember.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. It's super fucking hard. But the problem is there's no real accountability. And the best we've done are very small fines.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest breaches we've seen are these small fines. And it's like,
totally ineffective.
Maybe instead you should make it criminal. And you make someone like the FTC could just say, look, we don't give a shit whose name's on the line.
Yeah.
You put somebody's name on the line, right? Someone that has authority and executive making decisions power, and you just put their name on the line, and they just go to fucking prison when this happens. Like, simple.
Right.
Because then this shit would stop.
Yeah.
CIOs would say...
would scream loud enough that they would quit if they didn't get the money they needed to fix the systems.
They'd just be like, no. Like,
yeah, for sure.
CEO, go put your name on the line. They're going to be like, well, fuck, I don't want to go to prison. Like, they'd actually fix this. And I feel like that should be a thing.
You might also want to take those classes at junior college about how to secure your system, finally. Sure. You might actually want to learn how to do this, because it does matter.
I could see, like, walk into Sac State, and it's just like John Chambers. Like, what the fuck are you doing here? And he's just like security 101. Like, I thought you were retired. He's like, well,
I don't want to go to prison. That's what I'm doing here. That's what I'm doing here.
Just like everyone's there, and you're just like looking around the room, and you're like, I know some of these people.
Let me be careful and say I am not putting down junior college when I say that.
No, quite the opposite.
I am not in any way. I'm saying there is great education at junior college.
Yes.
All these people have to do is go avail themselves to it. All they have to do is put in a little effort. They could get the information on how to fix these problems.
Is that Meg Whitman over there?
It should
sure
be.
Is.
They should all be afraid of having security problems. They should all care passionately.
And yet here we are, and no one is really afraid of it.
I'm moving on to Hurricane Beryl.
Oh,
yes, you should be freaked out about Hurricane Beryl. It intensified Monday night into a Category 5 hurricane with sustained winds of 165 miles an hour. Prior to Beryl, in more than a century of hurricane records, the earliest a Category 5 hurricane has ever developed in the Atlantic was July 16th.
Yeah.
That was Hurricane Emily in 2005, the notorious hurricane season that delivered Katrina to New Orleans about a month later.
Let's just be clear here. This was like a couple days ago is when this thing made Cat 5.
Yeah.
I think it was on July 1st, right? Wasn't it like on Monday? So the first day of July, we now have a 165 mile an hour wind.
Which is the opening day of hurricane season. You can't get any earlier than that.
Well, then you got to go to the hurricane spring training, which is in Bermuda. You got to go to that.
I would totally go to that.
No, they're only like 120-mile-hour winds. They're not really out because they don't want to hurt themselves. So they're just out there doing their best.
Okay, enough with headlines. Up next, we're going to talk about some past news stories. I know we've been saying we're going to do that for a couple of weeks now, but this week we're actually going to get to it.
I will believe it when I see it.
All right.
Let's go.
I had great fun discussing WWDC with you the last couple of...
I was going to say, which time? Well, let's do it again. Those icons, you can make whatever fucking color you want. You want them blue? You can make them blue. You want them green? You can make them green.
Thank goodness.
Now, you can't do yellow. Yellow's going to be in beta 3.
There were other news stories that I wanted to discuss that we hadn't ever really talked about very much about.
Sure.
And so...
More bugs? Are we doing bugs?
Maybe just for a little while.
Tornadoes.
For a little while, maybe we can stop talking about WWDC and do something new.
Okay.
Really what I want to do is, I got 3 categories. They're going to organize these stories very loosely into 3 categories.
Insects.
There's new chips, brand new world, because there's lots of stuff happening in China and the world, and other places besides the U.S. where technology is changing.
Sure.
And there's also, it's being followed with lots of new regulations.
Okay.
We should look at all 3 of those things.
That's a lot. I believe in us, though.
I want to start with new chips.
Spicy nacho.
Computer chips.
Oh.
What's happened in the last year or so is Windows on ARM has started to work.
Yes.
ARM is a different kind of chip.
Yes.
It's a different sort of chip than the x86.
You needed to get some inertia, right? You had to build up. You needed more software to work. It wasn't just enough to have Windows. You needed to have all the ancillary third-party software working, and then you needed chips, and those things kind of happen back and forth, right?
They didn't all happen together. Yeah, it was kind of a rough start. ARM on Windows basically was unusable until this year, and this year it's really lit up and is actually kind of exciting because you're going to get much better battery life, which ARM chips give you over x86, and much better performance and all sorts of good things, and also NPUs built in for AI.
Yeah, well, I mean that's table stakes going forward. I don't think you're going to see a chip in any device that doesn't have an NPU built into it, and that's for everybody. Question though, do you think it's fair to say that Apple with their silicone helped push along Windows on ARM? Because I feel like it did.
Oh, it had to, because they were getting so much better battery life that to compete, Microsoft had to say, you got to come up with this, we got to come up with something that has similar battery life, that has similar performance characteristics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Their only option was ARM.
Yeah.
We thought their only option was ARM. We'll come up in a second. We'll discuss how it actually came out.
Oh, there's a surprise.
There's a surprise. There's a twist. Anyway, there are Microsoft Surface devices that have come out, and several other notebooks have come out that are using the new Snapdragon X Elite line of chips. And they are getting the great battery life, and they're getting really good performance and all of those things. The Snapdragon X Elite is a powerful processor designed for Windows laptops and tablets by Qualcomm. It was announced in late 2023 and boasts some impressive features. Best-in-class CPU performance for laptops, even surpassing Apple's M3 chips and benchmarks. Comes in 4 variants offering a range of processing power. It's built with AI in mind. It features the Qualcomm AI engine with a powerful hexagon NPU. You're going to ask me why it's a hexagon? I don't know. This allows for tasks like running large AI models on the device with enhanced security features.
So let me just highlight a couple things here. One, this is from Qualcomm, right? This is the company that normally you would, at least I think of.
The chip is not from Intel.
Yeah, but you would think of them as like, they're like the phone modem manufacturer.
The phone chips.
Right? Like they make phone chips.
They make almost all your phone chips. Yeah.
Also worth highlighting, fellow alumni, Andrew Viterbi.
What year?
Fuck, before us. He's old as rocks. I don't know, the first year?
Is that true?
The second year of the school? The engineering school at USC is literally named after him. It's the Viterbi School of Engineering. Have you ever been on campus before? Okay, USC is a school in downtown Los Angeles that you can pay to have your kids go to if they want to be on the rowing team.
I hold a degree from that university, and I did not...
well, they might be questioning that now based on...
They might rethink that.
But you hold like a fun, like a pretty person's degree. I hold the...
Yes, I do.
I hold the degree from the people that stay in the fucking basement they don't let out. Like, if you've ever been to Salvatore Hall at USC.
You're a tool degree.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. There's a reason that room has no windows in it, because nobody actually wants, and by windows, I mean, sunlight.
Qualcomm, great chip.
Yeah, Andrew Viterbi.
He's the Qualcomm guy.
California-based company, right? They're down in San Diego somewhere. They've been making chips for phones for a very long time. Viterbi holds several patents. He's helped really define wireless computing or wireless devices. They're now like competing straight up, not just competing, leading with
Leading.
CPU architecture. And I think that's pretty cool.
There are laptops such as Asus Vivobook S15, the Microsoft Surface Pro 11, and the HP OmniBook X, which are centered around that Snapdragon X
And by the way,
Elite.
really compelling features at a really compelling price point. You're seeing these at, I think that Vivobook you mentioned it's like an OLED display and it's still a $1,300 machine, which is pretty cool.
It's a 15-inch OLED display.
Yeah.
This is not a 14-inch, and the whole thing is 3 pounds. It's really lightweight.
It's like a legitimate MacBook Air competitor, it seems. It seems like that's sort of the niche they're going after, is this lightweight, medium scale.
What's the screen size of the MacBook Air? I don't even know.
They go up to a 15. 15 is the biggest. I think they've got a 13 and 14.
Let's talk about NPU. Let's talk about artificial intelligence, which runs on NPUs.
Yeah.
The Snapdragon X NPU does 45 trillions of instructions per second.
That's a lot.
While comparatively, Apple's M4 does 38 tops.
Yeah,
So
it's like a 14 top difference. This is going to be a cat and mouse game. You're also
for sure.
You're comparing things on only one aspect. I think when they put these machines side by side, at least this is not the M4, the M3. The Apple M3 outperformed on single core performance, which surprised me because I really didn't think that it would.
Sure.
But underperformed on multi-core performance compared to the Snapdragon.
which is really mostly where you live, is in the multi-core world.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say kind of only where you live. Like, there's so few things you're going to be doing single core. And by the way, who's making software that's not optimized for multi-core?
Right.
It's pretty rare. Are you going to buy one?
Eventually I will buy one. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
great.
waiting to see more come out. I mean, what's really amazing is we're starting with low prices now at $1,300 for the Asus. It's only going to get more competitive going forward.
I mean, it's weird. It's almost like in, let's say, 12 to 18 months, like it'll be like half the price.
Thank you, Gordon. Yes, it's very likely it will be half the price.
I feel like we're going to get a cease and desist from his estate one day.
We should. We've certainly earned it.
One day the Moore estate's going to be like, look, all you're doing is dragging my dad's name through the mud. Please stop. Just please stop.
Can you not mention
Can
him
you just
on your
not? Can you just
your
call
little
it
program?
something else? Your little program, your little show. This is super cool and
Very lightweight as well, which is also quite cool. The future here is quite bright.
yeah. I mean, I like my laptop a little fat ass on it.
Do you?
I want to be a little heavier. Yeah, I'm trying to compress my L3, L4, and L5 all together as fast as I can.
If you look at what's happening with Windows on ARM and how it's really starting to mature to a usable state, you look at what's happening with the Snapdragon X Elite, and you think, wow, Intel is in trouble.
Yeah.
Intel's in big trouble.
Like, you better bring back those little Intel bunny men because you need something to save you.
Yeah, what in the world are they going to do? How's this going to work out? Turns out Intel's got a new chip too.
Yeah.
Lunar Lake, it's called, and it is designed to basically compete head to head with the fastest chips that are out there.
I mean, I feel like they kind of took a little bit of the wind out of the sails of the Snapdragon.
Yeah, they really made a massive jump from their last chips forward, a much bigger jump than they normally make.
I mean, I would have been surprised had they got close, right? Had they come out and said, hey, look, we're not behind. We're going to, we're very close. They're not saying that here. They are exceeding pretty significantly what the Snapdragon can do. It's a little newer, so granted they've had a little more time at their back. They're still in the running is the point. And that's impressive to me.
Yeah, let me just go over that tops list that we went over a few
please.
trillions of instructions per second. Apple's M4, 38 tops, 38 trillions of instructions per second. That by itself is mind-blowing.
This is just the NPU specifically, right? Just the NPU.
Yes, just the NPU. Snapdragon's NPU, 45 tops.
Yep.
Big jump forward, big jump forward. Lunar Lake does 48 tops.
Yeah.
That's really, really amazing that Intel has gotten that out of their NPU. But hang on.
But wait, there's more.
Intel's Lunar Lake boasts a total of 120 tops for AI workloads.
Yeah.
48 tops come from the NPU, an additional 67 tops from the Xe matrix extension arrays in the GPU.
This is still super impressive, right? Like, I'm sure your whatever the software you're running needs to be designed to support this, but 120 tops is bananas.
If you're doing AI, that's exactly the processing that you need. And all of the new Windows Copilot stuff is AI.
But even the AI is going to have to be optimized, I'm assuming, to take advantage of this Xe matrix extension. I don't think you can just dump your regular load on it. The point is it's there, and that's super impressive. There's something else, though, that you kind of glossed over that is interesting about this Lunar Lake chip that has been highlighted a little bit in the news.
Tell me.
Who makes it? Well, I should say who makes it, but who helped Intel make it?
TSMC. The lithography on the wafer is done in Taiwan by TSMC.
You know for sure it's done in Taiwan?
I do. First time that's been the case for Intel. Intel usually does all their own fabrication, and this they've farmed out because TSMC does that fine lithography routinely. They do it quite well and quickly. That doesn't mean Intel won't eventually be able to do it themselves, but they currently farm it out.
I think TSMC helped them with Meteor Lake as well, which is great. I think this is good that they're doing this to stay relevant and stay competitive.
If you don't have the manufacturing capabilities that you need to make the latest and greatest chips, your option is to go
go find some.
Yeah, what's the point?
Right, go find some additional capacity. The fun thing about both of these chips, the Snapdragon and the Lunar Lake, is the way that they're using their P cores and E cores. They have two types of cores.
Yeah.
One is for performance and one is for efficiency. The performance uses a lot more power.
Sure.
But when you don't need that kind of power, you shut those cores down and you're just using the efficiency cores.
I spend a lot of time working on my core, so I have both a very performance and efficiency core. I can eat chips both quickly and powerfully.
By doing that, you get a lot longer battery life.
I don't know. My doctor tells me otherwise. I think he tells me my battery life is running short. But hey,
you might be right.
What does cholesterol even mean anyway?
Chips are cool again.
This is, really no joke. This is the first sort of processor I've been excited about in a long time. I've been excited about processors in quite some time, and this is pretty cool.
The quote from Intel is, Lunar Lake offers faster core performance than ARM. We're going to bust the myth that x86 can't be as efficient.
x86 probably should have died 20 years ago, and somehow
they just keep finding a way.
They just keep it relevant. They just keep finding a way, right? And I got to believe they toil underneath some giant quote on the wall from Gordon Moore that says, you will make this faster in 18 months.
That's got to be the sort of Damocles hanging over them.
Totally.
Is Gordon Moore's quote.
And if you don't, then the ghost of Gordon Moore comes back and haunts the shit out of you. He's got like big chains and like a cowbell. It's terrible.
Well, I got to move us on. Let's talk about the new world. Should we talk about the new world?
We should.
There are so many things changing right now in the tech world, and some of it is just old school ways that probably need to die, and for whatever reason, they just don't seem to be dying easily.
Yeah, tabs versus spaces, people. Fuck tabs.
Tabs versus spaces. I don't know if you saw this story. Dell said return to the office or else.
I love
Dell,
this.
the computer corporation.
Yeah.
And nearly half of the workers chose or else.
And Dell management said, no, that was a rhetorical statement. It was you didn't actually get to pick which one.
Big tech companies are still trying to rally workers back into physical offices, and many workers are still not having it.
Yeah.
Based on a recent report, computer maker Dell has stumbled even more than most.
Yeah.
Dell announced a new return to office initiative early this year. In the new plan, workers had to classify themselves as remote or hybrid. Those who classified themselves as hybrid are subject to a tracking system that ensures they're in a physical office 39 days a quarter, which works out to close to 3 days per week.
Yep.
Alternatively, by classifying themselves as remote, workers agree they can no longer be promoted or hired into new roles within the company. Why would you take so much of your workforce and say, we're not going to promote you, we're not going to give you a future?
My God, it's crazy and terrible. I can pretty much tell you why. Because this has been my experience having looked at this and having been a huge proponent of remote working for 20 years. You have a bunch of old managers, and they have no interest in learning how to become better managers or learning how to become current managers. And they go, this is the way I've always done it. I need to see people sitting in desks. And if they're not sitting in desks, they're not working. And this has been a huge gripe of mine for a long time. I've said to countless companies that I've been associated with in the past, if you think somebody sitting in a chair, right, somebody does knowledge work, whatever that might be, sitting at a keyboard, or they're building software, writing documents, whatever. If you think them sitting at their desk means they're working,
you're wrong.
Then you've got a real problem on your hands. I have seen plenty of people who can watch 8 to 9 hours of cat videos a day sitting at their desk, completely, managers completely oblivious. Oh, look at Jeff's he's our best performer. I'm like, Jeff has just watched all of YouTube. That's not what's happening.
Sure.
So you really have to think about how you value your work. And if you think about valuing the work as the output, why do you care where they are?
Right.
And folks will say, oh, well, collaboration isn't the same. And yeah, you're right. It's not the same, but it's still doable. And I believe it's doable in a better mechanism. You still should get together, just not every fucking day for 4 hours at best of productivity.
Or you can get together on Zoom, or you can get together on, you don't necessarily have to be in person.
The past that I've seen, especially for development teams, but knowledge sort of workers at large, is you work remote, you work comfortably, you have some set rules for synchronization, and then you get everybody together once a quarter. And you really focus on the personal skills of engaging with the other humans you've been working with side by side for the past 90 days.
Yeah.
And that's very effective. It works very, very well. Here, I just feel like this is old management saying, hey, you got to come back into the office. And oh, by the way, if you don't, we're going to penalize you.
Taking so much of your talent and saying, we're not going to promote you.
It's ridiculous. The good news is, I believe the market will help them figure this out.
If they haven't figured it out already. No. I mean, you have to look at all the people who said no and just go, well, maybe we're wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure Dell can come up with other creative ways to push talent out. So, we'll give them some more time.
It's a skill like anything.
Crack work there, HR team. You should have minimum working hours too.
Speaking of the new world, Huawei, which was banned by the U.S. and nearly bankrupted, has bounced back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
Huawei is a company in China who we accused of spying on us, so we banned them.
Yep.
So they could no longer do business with Western companies.
They could no longer use Western technology. They could no longer order Western parts. all of those things. They can't buy the ASML lithography machine. So what they've done is they've had to go and create their own.
Yeah.
And you are now creating a complete new infrastructure in China from people who have had to create new ways of thinking about computers and phones and things like that. For example, Huawei has this OS for their phones. It's called Harmony OS. And in the first quarter of 2024, Harmony OS surpassed Apple's iOS to become the second best-selling mobile operating system in China behind Android with 17% market share.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Of course this was going to happen. But I don't think us, sort of banning Huawei chips from federal and government offices, like it may have accelerated it, but this was bound to happen anyway.
Of course it was going to happen. But you really accelerated it because you created a need.
Yeah.
It just became urgent that they figure out how to do this stuff themselves.
Yeah, which I still think makes sense. I mean, you're going to have to pull the rug out at some point. Well, I shouldn't say have to. You're likely going to pull the rug out at some point.
Yeah.
So was this the right time? I don't know, but it was going to happen at some point. So we did. Great. They're going to figure out how to make better chips.
Yeah, we accelerated their ability to make chips.
I still think you're generations away, and like engineering generations away from them being able to innovate more without the guidance of other companies that do a lot of the quote real innovation. That's been my view of my experience with Chinese engineering folks and teams for quite some time.
I think this changes that by shutting the doors to it.
It's going to start changing for sure. It has to.
Suddenly, now it's urgent.
But I still think it's generational, right? It's a very different culture working in sort of the engineering mindset in China versus the West, especially the US. Failure is not well accepted. Failure is not well embraced. And I do not think you're going to get good innovation until you start to really embrace that. That is not just let's change this in engineering schools, right? That is something that is embedded in their society. It's a cultural shift. And I would argue that's a good thing.
Washington officials are now deliberating ways to co-opt its allies in a broader containment campaign and exploring additional sanctions on Huawei and its Chinese partners. Well, you're going to be pretty much out of sanctions, and Huawei has proven that they can bounce back.
I don't know what else you've got to sanction, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. We'll find other things to blacklist.
Right.
We're extremely good at that.
Yeah.
I think it would have been completely naive for anybody to think that this was going to kill the business. It just slowed it down for a while. It was a speed bump. You put a couple speed bumps in there.
I think it came very close to killing the business. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I didn't think it was that much of an impact.
Huawei was the second largest manufacturer of phone handsets in the world, and we basically killed them from the Western world. We basically said no one's buying Huawei. The remarkable comeback raises questions about whether U.S. efforts to contain China's geopolitical ascent have been effective or adequate, and which of the two superpowers will come to dominate in areas such as semiconductor design and artificial intelligence.
I think they've been effective, but they've also probably haven't been adequate.
They've effectively sped up Chinese innovation by decades.
You slow it down, it puts it in molasses for a while, and they swim their way out of the molasses, and then they're faster and better.
And then they're really fast, yes.
Yeah.
That which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I mean, that's that old line, and that's what happened.
I feel like the next step on this is what we did with Stuxnet, when Iran had their nuclear program, and we basically destroyed all their centrifuges. You really want to shut them down? That's what you got to do? That doesn't seem very nice.
Also in the new world, we have finally settled up with Julian Assange, who's pled guilty and is going home after a long extradition fight. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has agreed to plead guilty to a single criminal charge, ending a long extradition battle with the United States government. Assange reportedly will avoid further jail time and be allowed to return to his home country of Australia.
I think this is a good deal. I think this is the right thing. I think his little bit of what I'm interpreting as posturing in this was unnecessary, specifically where he said that he did not want to go to the continental United States and that he was only willing to go to some small territory.
Some territory still controlled by the U.S., yes.
I'm like, look, and his claim was he wouldn't be safe in the continental United States. And I was like, look, buddy, if the U.S. government wanted you,
they'd have you.
They would have you.
Also, you're going to a territory that's controlled by the U.S. If they wanted to grab you there, it would be just as easy to grab you there.
Does he think the FBI doesn't have maps? Like they don't know where it is? The FBI's like, oh, fuck, we don't know where the fuck he is. Where is that on a map? What is he, in Antigua? We don't know. No. Like they know how to fucking find you. So that felt like a little...
They know how to use Google Earth.
Exactly. They just use Google Earth to shoot right over to you. I thought that was a little disingenuous, but whatever.
This is an interesting case to me because what they're basically charging him with is releasing classified documents, publishing classified documents. This is the same thing that the New York Times and Washington Post and the Boston Globe have done, because this happens in the news world where they do release the Pentagon Papers. Classified things are published by respectable journalistic outlets. So they have to be very careful not to create some new laws that change those rules, because there are times when those documents should be published. There are times when those documents should be flushed out.
Don't typically, though, those organizations, the more established organizations, make an effort to redact things that they think will be super harmful?
I would hope.
If they've got a document that includes a bunch of things they think the public needs to see, but they take out the nuclear codes.
Everyone has a very different opinion about what's harmful.
I'm pretty sure if the New York Times published, like, hey, go to this website, type in this code, and you're going to launch a nuke. I think we might, as a government, government as a we might have a bit of a problem with the New York Times. Like somebody might be getting a phone call.
That isn't what got published in the WikiLeaks piece either.
I understand.
By the way, Edward Snowden.
Oh, he ain't coming home.
That's why Snowden gave his revelations not directly to the world, but gave them to journalists who would then vet them before they put them out. That was the whole point of giving them to journalists first.
The other part of the story that I thought was kind of interesting, Assange, I felt like his wife was whinging a little bit about having to pay back, they should put up like a Kickstarter for $500,000 to pay back the Australian government for the flight costs. Sure. And I'm like, all right, a couple things. One, you did a bit of this to yourself by saying we got to go to these places and whatnot. Not that they would have flown him on Qantas or whatever to get him home from Britain anyway. And you're flying to some very esoteric island in the middle of nowhere.
You've made this expensive.
Yeah, but a couple things. One, I feel like the Ecuadorian government has got to be thinking about sending him a bill, like a Four Seasons bill.
Oh, they should.
For 7 years, right? Because my understanding of that situation...
And he was a terrible guest.
You were literally staying in someone else's house, and they were protecting you, and you were just... It sounds like you were a little terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's problematic. But I also think the amusing part on this is, well, he had to spend $500,000. They also threw him on a Boeing. They're like, nah, no Airbus for you, buddy. Like, here's a Boeing. He's like, no, send me to New York. Fucking send me to San Quentin, not a Boeing.
I don't want the doors to blow off.
Please God, no. So, good news. Here's your plane. Also good news. Here's a bag of bolts. You got to figure out where they go. You got 30 minutes. It's like a new game of Survivor.
Your time starts now.
It's like a Survivor Boeing edition, right? Where they give you a plane and a flight, and you've got a scheduled takeoff, but you got to figure out where the missing parts go.
Microsoft has delayed the release of Windows Recall due to security concerns. This was going to be their feature that was going to watch everything you did on your computer, so you could ask the AI, what did I do on Thursday with my 2 hours that I lost?
Cat videos.
Yeah, you played
That's
solitaire.
The answer. It's not even AI. It's literally like, cat videos, solitaire, Minesweeper, Facebook. One of those four. It's like a magic 8-ball. It just gives you one of those four, and it's going to be right 80% of the time.
It was literally going to take pictures of your screen every few seconds and then just put that into an AI database. And
knowing Microsoft, it was stored in like plain text on local disk, or they just fucking publish it to x.com. It's like every screenshot's to x.com. They're like, yeah, but we obfuscated your name. And you're like,
not really.
Not enough, guys.
So they are going to postpone this because they decided this is a big security concern. But I think the interesting thing about it is if you were an employer and you had someone working on a Windows machine, do you have a right to look at everything that they've been doing on their computer?
Typically, yes, because they're using your hardware.
Can I look at them and see what kind of Amazon shopping they've been doing for the last 2 hours?
Well, you shouldn't be using that computer to do those things, is what the employer in HR would say.
But everybody's probably doing those things.
Of course.
Especially those people who are back in the office who don't want to be back in the office.
Yeah, no, you should be working, not watching cat videos and ordering more air fryers on Amazon. I still think this feature is a great idea. I am very concerned about the implementation and execution of said feature.
Right.
If you do it in a way that is thoughtful and safe, and I'll do hat tip to Apple on this because I feel like I've seen more from them on their approaches to this type of solution than I have from Microsoft.
You and I disagree on this. We're going to have a discussion about this at some point. But yes, go ahead.
I'm always happy to disagree with someone who is wrong. So I have no problem with that.
Excellent.
I think this is a cool feature. I think they need to maybe think through the implementation a little more. And that seems to be maybe what they're doing. I want a very efficient chip with a very efficient battery to be able to record and track every single thing that I do. And I want that to be in a place that is, safe, accessible only by me, and recallable. So I can go back and go, when did Jeff tell me about the restaurant, the bread lady who makes the bread for that restaurant? And it will tell me, and that will be excellent.
Apple has a new China problem. Speaking of the new world, ChatGPT is banned in China.
Yeah, of course.
And Apple was going to use ChatGPT, their reach out to if you want to get additional AI information that Apple isn't having in their system.
Well, okay, look, I mean, they've got their own AI system. We'll see how the CCP interprets that and does or doesn't allow them to implement the aspects of Apple Intelligence. ChatGPT was just a shell out. And their view, if you listen to any of our 9 WWDC episodes, Apple's approach on this shell out is to be agnostic and support everyone. So to me, this is sort of a non-story. It doesn't matter.
I think Apple's already making a deal with Meta to use their AI as well.
Yeah, totally. They're going to support a bunch of them. And I think in China, they'd be like, well, okay, hey, look, user, like this is what your government allows you to have. Choose.
So they're going to find a Chinese company that has Chinese AI to partner with, and they'll be good to go.
Most likely. And it'll have its own view of the world. It'll be great.
Why is ChatGPT banned in China?
Because it's trained on all the information, and all the information is outside of the firewall. So that's the problem is when you use the internet in the regular way, in quotes, inside China, there's a whole bunch of shit you just don't see, like Wikipedia. Every single person I know in mainland China is already outside of the Great Firewall.
Of course.
Everyone has a VPN, right? They get outside the Great Firewall. They already know the world, but there's this like emperor has no clothes of, the regular connection, you can't. You're behind this mysterious thing that filters connections. This is really fascinating to see how this is going. AI is just going to accelerate that. How it ends in China, who knows?
All right. Well, enough about the new world and China and all of that. We got to move on to new regulations.
I love regulation. You know me, I'm pro-regulation. Let's do it.
Have you used Perplexity AI?
Very, very little.
You go on to their website and you ask it a question.
Yep.
And instead of giving you links to the data, like most search engines, it gives you a Perplexity page.
Yeah.
Like a little
Summary.
tiny mini report, a summary. Right.
Yeah.
Based on primary sources. And they're not giving any credit. The deal with search always was, you have a question, you have a query, you put it in search. What comes back is links. So you went to those other sites and you saw the ads that those other sites provided. And that paid for the journalism.
If Jeff Bridges' character from Starman is listening to the show, that will be super helpful. I think everybody else knows how search works, but I'm glad you explained it to them. That's great. We have one listener who is furiously taking notes. Oh, that's how search works. Okay, I put it in, and then, I got it.
Perplexity is just taking this one step farther than most other AI systems in that you ask it a question, it gives you an answer, but it's giving you proprietary information. This started with a Forbes article about Eric Schmidt's drone company, and it came back with just paraphrased version of a Forbes story that's behind a hard paywall, including an illustration that came from Forbes. And so they're just stealing the journalism. They're stealing the art and everything.
I mean, this isn't much different to me than any other large AI system, ChatGPT or
not
otherwise.
different than ARC. It's
So what do you think the answer should be? What should all the folks that have the Forbes of the worlds, the Bloombergs, all the people that spend real money and real time
on journalism,
going and doing the hard work of journalism and writing these articles or recording a podcast or whatever. What should the answer be? What's the best thing for humanity if we look at it through that lens? What is the net best thing for humanity?
I think the publishers who own the journalism have a right to say, you may scrape us or you may not. And they can decide whether or not and maybe even they have two. Maybe there's a Forbes that we allow you to scrape and another Forbes that we don't allow you to scrape.
Sure.
We certainly aren't allowing you to scrape things behind a hard paywall. This stuff was behind a hard paywall.
So the best thing for humanity is for the content owner to be able to decide what happens with that content. Is that a good synopsis of what you said?
I think you have to have rule of law. And rule of law says, I paid for this, I own this, you can't steal it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to take down rule of law. I'm saying, what should it be? What's the best thing for humanity?
It's obviously not to be able to scrape freely just because you want to, just to be able to grab information because you want to.
So let's say, hypothetically, I come up with the cure for a disease.
Yes.
Cancer.
Please do that.
Right?
Do that tonight.
And I write it down in a book and I go, well, okay, there's this book, but I'm going to sell the book and you only sell you one at a time. And if you read it, it'll tell you the cure for cancer, but it's $1 million.
Yes.
And anybody that can afford the $1 million gets it. And those that can't, don't.
Sure.
Is that what's best for humanity?
No, then you're just a jerk.
Right? That's how I feel.
Jonas Salk figured out the polio vaccine and he said, this is free to everybody.
Totally.
Knock yourselves out. This is not something I want to make money off of. We all need this.
Yeah. So
that's the right way to do it. Joseph Salk was not a jerk. You for charging $1 million for your book.
Sure.
And by the way, you only have a limited amount of time where you're covered under a patent like that.
Well, if it's a patent, if I'm
20 years,
about 20 years,
yeah.
That's if I'm using patent protection. I could be using trade secret, make everybody sign a non-disclosure. Still, even in 20 years time period under patent protection, which by the way, you've already publicized it anyway, that would still be a very terrible thing to do for humanity, right? It might be great for me, it might make me a bunch of money.
Of course.
But terrible for humanity.
Sure.
I kind of feel the same way about knowledge creation, which is a version of what this is. I am not saying that the journalists should not be compensated for what they've done. That is definitely not what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But I do think the other extreme of you made it, you can do with it what you want, I'm not sure that's great. I'm not sure that's what's best for humanity.
I agree the patent system is a disaster. You should change the patent system.
Oh, for sure.
Obviously, if you're not exploiting your cure for cancer, it should go to the world. It should open up. But if you are exploiting your patent and you are within the bounds of the law, we say you get 20 years. Unless we change that.
I completely understand
that's
that.
what you get.
And I'm not saying what we have in law currently, because clearly what we have in law currently does not address this at all.
Right.
So we can't use what we have now. I'm trying to say, what should it be? And to me, I think there's an element of the knowledge should be available, right? It's a page out of Stallman's book. It should be free and available to everyone.
But you don't get to steal it. You can change the laws if you want to.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Then do that.
I'm trying to jump ahead here too. I didn't ask you what's doable under the law. I asked what should it be.
Yeah.
Forget about the law. To me is just the execution of what it should be. Well, in theory, it's the execution of what it should be. It usually isn't. But like, what should it be? And that's the part that I kind of struggle with here is if you've made this content, I feel like there's an obligation that it should be available to the world, right? And like, we've fucking failed held that in copyright.
Not if I paid reporters to go out and find out this information. No, then it belongs to me. If I'm Forbes and I write a story about Eric Schmidt's drone company, that story belongs to me. I paid for it.
But isn't that just an extension of the cure for cancer? I'm going to hold it hostage and charge X amount, and if you don't pay it, you don't get it?
You can live if you don't know about Eric's drone company. I'm not killing anyone off because I'm not telling you about Eric's drone company.
It's not a cure for cancer. This is how you get to live to be 300 years old. It's not a cure for cancer.
Okay.
So you're still going to die. You're not going to die because of me.
But you're going to die sooner.
You're going to die sooner.
Not knowing anything, you don't know anything about Eric's drone company, that you're not going to die 1 minute sooner or slower.
So what you're saying is there's a bar of things that should be available and a bar of things that shouldn't. I kind of feel like all knowledge should be available. And I'm interested to think about a way to get there.
Because you want to steal it.
I don't want to steal it. I want the knowledge to be out there.
You want to take it freely.
I want it all to be...
Then pay for the knowledge and we're all good.
I don't want to pay for it. I just want it to be free. I want to steal it.
Exactly.
No. I want... So that's the question to me is like, how do you come up with a mechanism to do this? Because I know pretty reasonably if you can't be compensated for this, then people aren't going to do it. They're definitely not going to do as much of it, right? So folks go, hey, I'm going to go into journalism, not just for the money, but money's got to be part of it. They've got to make a living. So not looking for like communistic journalism.
They got to eat. They got kids to put through private school.
But I got to believe there's a better way to say, okay, we're going to make this, we're going to have a system by which this knowledge ultimately becomes available to everybody. Maybe it's time-based. I don't know. For 12 months, it stays in this, inner ring, and then it goes out to a small...
I agree. You might think about changing the law along those lines, where if you are writing news stories, you have a copyright on those news stories for a year or something like that.
Sure.
Or the content of that is yours for a year.
Again, I'm not trying to jump to the tactical solution of the law change. I'm trying to figure out, like, what should it be?
Yeah.
And I think what we have right now, in general, for copyright is too far the extreme the other side. 100 years past the death of the author.
70?
That seems like a really long time.
You can thank the Walt Disney Corporation for that.
Yes, the mouse. So I feel like there's some balance in between it. And I don't want a world where there's no protection at all. I think that's terrible. I don't think that would end well.
Otherwise, they have no incentive to go and report on Eric Schmidt's drone company.
Of course. Yeah. Or make new content or come up, spend time in development of cars.
Or cure cancer.
Or cure cancer, right? These are all so you need some mechanism, but I don't feel like we're talking about that. Instead, we're just talking about these guys stole it. Okay.
Well, under current law, they did steal.
I understand, but the AI, and we're breaking eggs. We're making omelets, right? You can't make omelets with eggs that aren't broken, so we got to break the eggs.
It doesn't justify breaking the law. You should still have the full penalties of the law.
In this analog, the eggs are the law, so it does justify breaking the eggs. If it was illegal to break eggs and I want to make an omelet, I'd say, Jeff, I've got to break the law because I'm trying to make an omelet here.
This whole discussion is just making me hungry.
I'm just saying there's a path on this that I don't know anybody is talking about. Somebody certainly somewhere is, but we're certainly not talking about. I don't know what it is. AIs without data are useless.
But we're also the United States, and the United States without rule of law is useless.
Again, the thing that
distinguishes us from rogue ne'er-do-well countries is they don't have rule of law.
Understood. What my failed attempt here was to get like a stake in the sand of a destination and then figure out how to navigate the laws to get there.
I'm never going to tell you it's okay for you to steal.
Is it okay for me to pay for a subscription to Forbes and then read it out loud to my AI? Is that okay?
I don't think so.
Why not?
It's not okay for me to pay for a subscription to Forbes and then go on the radio and read Forbes to you and give you an audio version of Forbes. That's not okay. That's not fair use. That goes way beyond fair use.
Isn't that our entire show?
Fuck. Well,
all right, folks, we had a good run, everybody. But as it turns out,
we read a headline and a paragraph, and then you and I opine on it for 30 minutes
about just random, unrelated shit. And you're like, this one time I saw a squirrel in my backyard. You're like, what? What are you talking about?
It's a lot of that.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's basically all of that.
We will likely not solve all the world's problems with regard to AI and stealing information.
Likely?
In this episode.
Okay, so you're saying we got a chance.
Because I got to go. I got things I got to do. But quickly, before we get out of here, have you seen or read anything good this last week?
I got 2 little kids. I got nothing to do but get yelled at. So I'm happy to stay here as long as is needed. Yeah. So yes, I struggle every week with getting something that is even close to as good as what you suggest.
Okay.
I feel like I might come close this week.
Oh, good.
In my late night travels around the interwebs at 1 a.m., I came across this really awesome edit that showcased the relationship between Norm Macdonald and David Letterman.
Yeah.
And they titled it "The Best of the Best."
Yeah, for sure.
And the person that made it had said, quote, "I've been really sad lately, so I thought I'd compile and document the relationship between these two. It made me feel better. Here's to a life well lived and loved and to dreams coming true.
Yeah.
Happy it happened."
Sure.
It's really a great edit. So you hear a bit about Macdonald talking about his fondness for Letterman and that Letterman is ultimately the reason he got into stand-up. I didn't know that.
I think Letterman was extremely fond of Norm as well.
Arguably even more so, which I think is part of the awesomeness of that story is here's Norm who admired Letterman so much, and then by the end of Macdonald's life, I'd argue Letterman may have had more admiration for Macdonald.
I don't know about more, but they certainly admired each other an awful lot.
It was impressive. So anyway, it's a great watch. It's relatively short. It also led me to watch Norm's appearance as the last stand-up on Letterman before he retired.
Yeah.
And that's also incredible. And he was such a great dude.
So sweet.
And just so funny. So I'll put the links in the show
Norm
notes.
Cries.
Yeah, he cries a couple times.
He's so heartbroken Letterman is leaving. It's so touching.
I mean, he talks about, you'll see in this little sort of mini edit, he talks about, thinking as a younger version of himself, what was success, what was making it. And it was being on Letterman, hearing the host laugh.
Sure.
That to him, and he had done it several times. And you're like, oh man, that's pretty cool, right? To see him going from Ontario, Canada, whatever. I think he grew up outside of Toronto to this is pretty cool.
Comedians working at the highest level.
So anyway, it's a fun watch. I think you'd like it. How about you? What have you seen?
Remembering Gene Wilder, a 2023 American biographical documentary film about Gene Wilder's life and career, as well as his battle with Alzheimer's. Wilder seems to be personally narrating the film, but in fact, the narration is coming from his autobiography, book on tape, Kiss Me Like a Stranger, My Search for Love and Art. The doc is a puff piece, a tribute. While the real Wilder was a complicated, fascinating person, nevertheless, the film is a delightful opportunity to enjoy once again Wilder's amazing body of work. Remembering Gene Wilder on Netflix now.
Whenever I go to the local farmer's market, that's the shirt I always wear.
What's that?
It says "Kiss Me Like a Stranger."
Oh, okay, good.
It's weird.
You like to kiss the farmers, do you?
I mean, I just figure, hey, why not? Let's. You guys have seen some shit. Why not?
Why not?
That sounds incredible. I will definitely check that out. You have gone off Apple TV onto Netflix, so I feel like something's happening.
Living crazy. That is the episode.
Thank you for joining us for all of this nonsense, a truly terrible podcast from The Awful Company. Visit us on the web at nonsense.productions.
I'm Jeff Parker.
If you like this program, please follow, download, subscribe, and like at Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, AntennaPod, iHeartRadio, Spotify, My Favorite Overcast, or wherever you may get your podcast from.
Nonsense is initially recorded using Audacity, 32-bit float recording for the highest quality sound. Audacity, like 95% of everything we use at Nonsense, is free and open source. If you need to make high-quality recordings, check out Audacity. Special thanks to our floor director, Sean Phillips.
Imagine how much better we would sound if we recorded in 64-bit. Maybe that's the problem. It's not the content.
Would make no difference.
No difference?
It wouldn't help you and I.
Thanks, John. We'll be here every Thursday morning for more nonsense. Please join us.
Are you going to a picnic? Are you doing something tonight? Are you doing something this evening?
Yeah.
Will you see fireworks?
We're doing a friend's party.
Tell me what the plan is.
Oh, yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely see fireworks. Very, very close. Very nearby.
Where do they light them off near you?
About 8 feet in front of us.
Illegally? You're going to have like somebody's...
No, it's sanctioned. No, illegally. No. Admitting to felony? No, God, no. No. We watch them on a screen, on a TV, AR.